You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the November 12th meeting for the LaPorte County Redevelopment Commission. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good evening. I'd like to call the November 12th LaPorte County Redevelopment Commission meeting to order. Again, please silence your phones and stand for the pledge. Commissioner Grammarosa, if you would.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank all those veterans.
Mary Jane, if you call the roll, please.
Adam Karonka,
Present.
John Carr, Scott Cooley,
Here.
Tom Fath, Mark Parkman,
Here.
Connie Grammarosa,
Present.
Jennifer Farley.
Present.
Mr. President, you have a quorum.
Thank you. One other thing I'd like to mention is a new member, Mr. Brett Kessler, who is appointed to replace now Representative Randy Novak.
Thank you. Brett Kessler.
Here.
No voting until you're sworn in, Mr. Kessler.
I swear.
Thank you, Mr. DiMartino. At this point, I'll entertain motions to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Grammarosa, second by Mr. Parkman. All in favor of approval of the agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Public comment. Any members of the public that would like to speak? Seeing none, public comment is now closed. Approval of the minutes.
Let's swear in Mr. Kessler so he can start voting.
All right, that sounds like a good idea. So,
Kessler, please stand.
Yes, sir.
Repeat after me. I, Brett Kessler,
I, Brett Kessler,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and I will faithfully
and
and impartially discharge my duties
will impartially discharge my duties
as a member of the LaPorte County Redevelopment Commission
as a member of the LaPorte County Redevelopment Commission
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
and according to law,
and according to law.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you.
thank you. Now, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve is presented.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Cooley, second by Ms. Grammarosa. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Treasurer's report.
The treasurer's report after claims today. US 421, number 1 TIF, $441,558. US 421, number 2 TIF, 0. KIDC TIF, $137,458. 39 North TIF, $14,262. End of treasurer's report.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
I'll make that.
So I have a motion by Mr. Parkman,
Second.
second by Mr. Cooley. All in favor of approving the treasurer's report, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Moving on to claims. For KIDC, we have $1,000 to MCR Partners, $1,500 to Guy S. DiMartino PC, $22.77 to the Herald Dispatch, $783.34 to Hendrickson Associates PC, and $110 to Senator Dalton, for a subtotal of $3,416.11.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Ms. Grammarosa,
Second.
second by Mr. Kessler. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. US 421, number 1, we have $4,000 to MCR Partners, $109.05 to NIPSCO, $40.21 to NIPSCO, and $110 to Senator Dalton, for a grand total or grand subtotal of $42.59 and 26 cents.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Parkman,
Second.
second by Mr. Cooley. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And 239 North, we have $1,000 to MCR Partners and $110 to Sender Dalton for a subtotal of $1,110.00.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Cooley,
Second.
second by Mr. Kessler. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right, moving on to old business. 421 I-94 TIF update. Mr. Reardon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and board members. Welcome aboard, Commissioner Kessler. 421 and 94, as the commissioners recall, at the previous meeting, RQAW was engaged to begin to continue to answer and work with Michigan City. That's still in the works. We're getting closer. When Mitch gets back, he'll give an update as where we stand with them at the meeting on December 10th. And that's really what we have associated with 421 and 94. If anybody has any questions about that, let me know. Okay, thank you.
All right, moving on to KIP TIF update.
I think we're going to, as a team here on the staff side, going to take a little more direct tack with the landowners about land and quit claim deeding that. So we're going to talk with staff and Guy DiMartino, and there's just continues to be questions about what exactly what it is that you want and what it is that you're trying to do. And while I don't understand, the written word is pretty apparent to me. Evidently, there's some confusion. So we're going to try and mitigate that and meet with the majority landowners directly and talk them through it. We're going to bring our surveyor with us to answer any questions that they might have about what does that drawing mean, what does it look like, and why does the county want it. I think that's going to be a better way to get that project accomplished. I also think that if we can get these larger landowners to sign on, the lesser landowners will feel that they should convey this so that the county can work with roads. The other aspect about Kingsbury Industrial Park, as we continue to go forward, and as there's development options and opportunities, part of that recommendation for zoning, special use, access will be for the petitioner to demonstrate, and incentives will be for the petitioner to demonstrate that they have, in fact, public access to the property they're buying. The idea is that they can, or the landowner can, or somebody can acquire roadways, fix them to county standard, and then give them over to us. We have tried all other methods to get this done, absent condemnation, which was always an option to bring that request to the county commissioners to proceed with that. And we have tried all other pathways to do this, and we think maybe with a meeting with them that will work, but also as projects continue to come up in Kingsbury, that we will require that this be the case. While we can all, I shouldn't say we can all say, it has been assumed that those roads at Kingsbury are public ways, and it has always been treated as such. There's nothing that has been done to codify that and make it legal. And then therein lies the problem. Either this commission or the council would have a hard time allocating resources to make improvements on property they don't own or control. So even though that has been explained in different ways over the years, that this is the best way, the most efficient way, this is the legal way to do this, you have to deed us the property. The other option is that the private sector does what they do and they fix roads and they turn them over to the county as they've been done to county spec and give them over to us once they're completed. That by far and away would be a wonderful option. It also seems to be the least likely option, but we're going to try. Outside of that, related to Kingsbury, there's been several different types of development opportunities that are knocking around there more than usual. We'll cover the discussion about the switcher agreement in item number 5 and get into a little more detail about that. But in summary, we did receive the information. I'll send it out to all the commission members to review from JBC Rail. They're in process, and I'll just wait till item number 5.
All right, just before we move on, has there been any other movement from just volunteering or willingness to sign since our last meeting? I assume I
Jane?
know the answer.
No, we're kind of stuck.
Well, there's one that we're working on. We just had because the property sold, we had to redo the surveys, and we've just done that. So I think they're going to be willing, but aside from that,
2M Shop Group
Okay.
came in at the end of it, and they came before the council. They're going to do an $8 million project there. When they bought the land, they were the proud purchaser of roadway property too. So they were more than willing to work with us. So it was good.
All right, good to hear.
Yes.
Moving on, 39 North TIF update.
There's a project just on the other side of 39 North, or where it's been annexed by the city. It's actually still in the county. It's a project that will need to be connected to utilities. I believe the best course of action with that will be to turn that over to the city to determine if they want to annex that corner piece, which is on the northeast corner of the interchange for development. And or they'll go through the county process. That's not part of the redevelopment area, and so there would be no action to be taken by the commission, redevelopment commission. It would end up being a city function. Other than that, this is the last year that revenues will come into the district. The city created their own TIF district over this, so when that's done, the base gets reset. All the revenue that has been generated in 39 North over the years will go to all the overlapping taxing districts, and then LaPorte will reset. And then anything new that would come in would be used for them to do utilities. And I think the city made it clear they're going to build a water tower, and they're going to continue to expand water and sewer capacity out there. And I see Mr. Jackson's in the audience, and he could probably speak to that if you want to ask him. But I believe that's the general goal.
Okay, so just to be clear, for this particular potential investment that's on the north side of 20, we're not in the business of just naturally turning over to annexation for anything that's development. In this case, it's not in a redevelopment area, which is, therefore, it makes more sense to move
Yeah,
this
I
route.
mean, if the city didn't act and do what they did and do the annexation, we would be having a conversation about should we expand, and we've talked about this, expanding further north on 39 to get to 20 because of the developable property along there. But it's all contingent upon the willingness of the city to invest in utility funds. It doesn't make sense just to throw things out the wall and see if it works. We know that there's interest at 20 and 39. We know that there's interest at the toll road in 39. There's a lot of distance between the two. So we'd have to be a little more thoughtful about that.
Okay, thank you. 35 I-94.
With that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Ratke and his group are here again today to talk about their hotel project that they've been pursuing. And let's hear from them.
All right, thank you.
Oh, wait. Sorry. Hold on. Let me roll that back.
Continue.
Pass those out. Go ahead, Gary. Go ahead while Gary's passing those out. I
Thanks, sir.
got so excited about talking about 39, I forgot about this gem that was put together. I'm kidding. This was put together in partnership with NIPSCO, and they selected a few communities to do grants to do drone footage, thanks to Mary Jane and Bailey and our team to getting together, filling out the paperwork, getting the money from NIPSCO, getting it done. This is a piece of marketing material that's going to go out there about Kingsbury Industrial Park. It isn't the first time we've tried this. NIPSCO offered a refresh, and we said, okay. Plus that we have a little more information, so why don't you roll that?
Welcome to Kingsbury Industrial Park, conveniently located in Kingsbury, Indiana, LaPorte County, just 33 miles from South Bend and 70 miles from Chicago, with 2 international airports just 35 and 80 miles away, respectively. This coveted property is 846 acres with a buildable area of 566 acres and is zoned for both heavy and light industrial. Additionally, there are several other smaller parcels that can be made available for use with some additional infrastructure investments. This property is zoning M2, targeting manufacturing, distribution, assembly, and logistics. The properties are largely flat, with sandy soils conducive to cost-effective new construction. There are several major highways and thoroughfares nearby, including Indiana Toll Road I-94, US 6, 12, 20, 30, 35, and 421, along with state roads 2, 4, 39, 104, and 212. Kingsbury Industrial Parkway rail access is dual service by two Class 1 carriers, Canadian National and CSX Railways. Switching services are provided by JBC Rail. Waterway access includes the Port of Indiana and Lake Michigan. This site is served by a 12.5 thousand volt electric distribution line and a 69,000 volt transmission line, both running along Hupp Road, plus an ample natural gas infrastructure, all supported by NIPSCO's strong track record of safe and reliable energy delivery. There is also a NIPSCO 345,000 volt electric transmission line less than 2 miles north of the site. This site's water and sewer services are provided by Kingsbury Utilities. The LaPorte County leadership strongly supports economic development in Kingsbury Industrial Park, with its flexibility in the use of tax increment financing and property tax reductions. In fact, it has recently invested over $6 million in rail improvements and $4 million resurfacing Hupp Road. The South Bend Foreign Trade Zone is also just 31 miles from the site. LaPorte County boasts a population of 111,000 people, with over 51,000 currently in the labor force. For information regarding Kingsbury Industrial Park, contact the LaPorte County Office of Economic Development.
We'll put that out there.
Looks great. How do you plan on distributing it?
We're going to put it on the internet.
Understood. Now, so obviously there's all kinds of sponsored links and things like that that Google and other web lead services use. Is that something you anticipate in
We
using?
never asked NIPSCO like how they would want it handled.
Okay.
Never did.
All right. Just curiosity, just to see what's available to broaden the audience. Obviously, the typical homeowner isn't going to be interested,
No.
but more along the lines of those are going to be the markets that are going to be invested or interested.
I'll leave that to Carlton. He's the expert on data and internet hits and how to position that.
Okay. Hello, everybody. So I will personally work with Matt and the team to come up with a distribution, list, a marketing plan, that kind of thing. We are also redoing the website, and that should be good to go in the next month or two. So this stuff will all be embedded there. In business retention, I have ample like lead lists that we can utilize. Bailey has tons of leads for new business and stuff like that. But yeah, this is great. We can, actually we could probably partner with Leap and some other places. But yeah, I'll actually come in to the next meeting and we'll have a whole kind of like an action plan for you guys if that works.
Works for me.
I do have a comment. When it says the Indiana Toll Road, it highlights I-94. It never shows I-80, I-90 running across there. A little editing. The Indiana Toll Road, I-80, 90, then I-94.
If you guys want to actually review this and send us an email.
That's the biggest thing I saw is that, you highlight I-94, right. You say the Indiana Toll Road, but if people aren't familiar with the Indiana Toll Road, the I-80, 90 should be highlighted on there.
First it said just the toll road. Then we said maybe we should add this. So now we'll kind of put.
I was going to trace it.
First time. I had to know better. Yeah, it's that came up in the review of this, and
it's a good commercial. It's just
we need to have both on there.
Correct. It probably should have that done.
We'll get both of them on there. We made some changes and edits a little bit to it, but we'll add that back in. Okay.
Yeah, and anything else you guys see with the video, just let us know. And like I said, if you email us, I usually put all that stuff in a whole list of, tasks to do from a development standpoint. Then I can make sure that I get every one of them. So if that makes sense.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry. Back to Gary Radke and their proposed development at 35 and 94 after the commercial break.
Thank you very much, Matt. And thank you for the opportunity for us to present our project. My name is Gary Radke. I'm the owner of Radke Engineering and Surveying, professional engineer and surveyor. With me is Rich Ostrigen. He owns Serenity Springs and is the developer of this project. Also with us is Chris Hart. He's a representative for the Cobblestone Hotel complex that we're proposing that'll be there. And hopefully Isaac Brew from First Farmers Bank and Trust might be joining us. Yeah, and so, I guess that was a no. But he's working with us on the financing of our project. I'll make a short presentation. I'll kind of go through the plan so you get more familiar with our project and to understand about where we are with everything on the project. Then I'll turn it over to Chris. He can really get into more with the Cobblestone facility, which will be the new first construction on the project. On page 1 of the handout, it basically shows the location of the project. Obviously, at the intersection of 20, 35, and 94, it's going to be, the motel is going to be very visible to 94 because that berm, what you see there now, is going to be removed and stuff. And Mr. Ostrigen purchased a lot there, so we're going to be relocating the entrance to Serenity Springs. We're also going to be eliminating the entrance right now on 35. You can see right by, to get rid of that so close to the intersection, and we're going to have a new entrance by the to the south further on 35, which will be a lot safer. The second page is more of a detailed showing of our development, what we're proposing. The Cobblestone is what Chris will be talking about is going to be the first facility where we're going to be constructing. Mr. Ostrigen actually went to the home office of Cracker Barrel, did not get a chance to make the presentation, but we sent information that would be our first wanting, if we can get that to be, but it'll be a sit-down restaurant. The coffee drive-through is kind of committed already to a local firm. And then a fast food facility would be on the intersection. That land is now owned by INDOT and stuff as what we feel is extra land. And we're trying to get a trade for this land for a more acreage to the about 1,400 feet to the on 35. And Mr. Ostrigen owns the old bank building property also. So on page 3 is what Chris will be talking more about is the Cobblestone facility. There'll be a 54 unit to start with and with a potential expansion. But he'll be talking more about that. And page 4 is the showing the first floor of the facility. And the last page is what I'll be talking more about is the proposed water main extension. So we had the utilities is obviously the holdback on where this intersection has never been developed. There's existing sanitary there at the intersection, which is, you can see on the second page, and it serves quite a few homes and also the Renaissance School, which we'll be connecting to. The water main has to come from Michigan City, and the last page shows it's a route. It's about 5,000 feet of pipe and stuff, and they are proposing to put a 12-inch pipe in there, which will serve this intersection. This intersection is kind of limited in development because there's so much wetland. There's a wetland to the north side of 20, and that's where that other development was going to go. And then on the west side northwest side of 94, there's a lot of wetlands also. So this isn't going to be all four quadrants will not be able to be developed. On September 10th, we met with the city, and we met with their Director of Public Works, Wendy, the city engineer, the water department, and the sewer department. And Carlton Bishop was with us at that meeting with Rich and I. It was a very good, solid meeting. We made a presentation, and we received a lot of interest from them to get this project to happen. And they had, the staff already had reviewed this, what we would need, so we had good input from them. The result of the meeting is that basically we found out that they are very interested in doing this project. Obviously, they would like to see it in the city at some point in time. And so, and as you probably know, they require a signed that Mr. Ostergen would not protest on annexation. But there's a lot of area would have to be involved before that. So later on, we received the drawing that you've seen for the water main. It's a 12-inch pipe, and this is what they feel is the ample size for fire protection and water usage. What they also sent us is an application for all the other facilities and stuff, and so we are now working on the volume of sewage what needs to be what will be developed for the area. And that's then what we also need is your help in Matt and Clayton talk to us about the help of getting the exchange of the property. Right now, NDOT uses it for maintenance, which we haven't seen any for years out there of equipment. But that's what they stated. So we're looking at if we can exchange land to get that as a development, which is a big tax benefit for both the county and in the future. So the schedule that we're looking at is, and Chris will get more involved in this, is with Cobblestone starting construction in 2026, opening in 2027. So we got a lot of work to do to get all this put together with the water main and all relocation of the roads and stuff. We're looking at, my company will be designing all the infrastructures this winter. We're actually out there surveying to get all the data and stuff. And then hopefully, once we get that, we can get some prices so we can work on getting the financing all put together. And with the help of Isaac Blue from the First Farmers, this can get to happen with your help and the city's help. With that, I'll turn it over to Chris Hart from Cobblestone.
Just to give you a little background on Cobblestone. Cobblestone Hotels is a privately owned upper mid-scale hotel brand out of Wisconsin. We've got about 160 hotels in 27 states. Rich had a hotel feasibility study done on this area, and the study returned pretty strong support that a hotel could be supported. And it projected we would slot in a 54-room Main Street model in what we do. That it's about a half step up from a regular upper mid-scale. Upper mid-scale would include Hampton Inn, Holiday Inn Express, that kind of thing. This would be kind of a half step up from that. It would have 54 guest rooms. There'd be a boardroom area. There'd be an indoor pool. There's a breakfast room, and in the evening, that's wine, beer, lounge, that kind of thing. Be a patio outside. It would fit in really well with the kind of the plans that they have for the rest of the development area there. And we're really excited about the location being right off the interstate like that. We have, so we've been working closely to make sure that things kind of get coordinated on when the infrastructure will be there so that it can all tie in appropriately and be able to open the hotel timely once everything's in place. Are there any questions about any of the hotel aspects of the hotel or?
I don't think so. Anything? All right.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. If there's no other further questions,
Yes, sir.
Not IDEM. Has
NDOT.
NDOT been receptive? They built the new place to the west, so I don't know if they use that a whole lot anymore. Have they been receptive, do you know?
Well, where we stood was the process to get them to divest property. We went down that pathway, and they said, we're not interested in divesting of the property. So Gary said, well, what if we swap land? And so that's kind of where it's at with NDOT. I talked with our friend Mikey Kula over there. He put me in touch with the land manager for them and said, we have an idea. Would you want to do a land swap because you told us it's not surplus property? Now, we kind of got it back in their area for consideration. Haven't heard back, and we'll continue to work with Gary as he proceeds with it. But the initial request was we're not interested. So whether they use it or not makes it tough for you or anybody to do anything about it. If they say no, it means no. So yeah, we're working with them on that.
Thank you.
actually, while we're thinking about two separate questions, one for Mr. Radke, one for Chris. Mr. Radke, when it comes to this 12-inch line, I assume that this is meant for some level of longevity and for any further development in the area that could be that spur off of this line in that area. Plus, we have at least one other business over there with the speedway. I would assume would be acceptable to or be required to tie in at some point.
Sure. In 2023, you had a study made for this area for that other development, and they actually pointed out of the areas where they think would be part of the TIF project and stuff. And so it's a larger area that they are projecting. I have been involved in this area for 20 years already. I see that the development along 20 is a real good possibility. We put a low-pressure sewer system on 20 to Renaissance School, which probably at some point would be actually a gravity system instead of a low-pressure system, but that would handle that. And then there's the possibility on 35, the other subdivision, one of the states on the east side is connected to this sewer system, but the west side one is not. So there's more development, plus where the other developer wanted to develop besides where the wetland was. So yes, we're definitely looking at additional volumes versus just what we were looking for.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Chris, if you wouldn't mind. The business model overall, I mean, this is besides the presentation we saw a few months ago, this is, Cobblestone's a new brand to me.
Sure.
You say that you're privately owned, so is this a corporate site that would be corporately owned site or a franchise site that we're looking at?
Be a franchise site. There's still the possibility that Cobblestone's two owners could come in as investors.
Okay.
Rich is really kind of leading the show on the investor piece. We'll work together on it, but yeah, I mean, he's kind of the lead on it. Cobblestone's two owners are willing to come in as minority investors. So there's about 160 hotels in the brand. As I said, Cobblestone's two owners own 30 of those outright, and they're minority investors in 70 of the rest. So they're very heavily invested in the brand.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, we're still working out how that investment piece is all going to tie out. But that's, we'll figure that out. We may or may not be involved in it, but it wouldn't be a corporate store.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Matt. Unless there's any questions about the hotel site. Then we'll move on to item number 5 that you were so excited about.
I was excited. I was really, no, not really.
Consideration of the KIP rail switcher agreement.
Right. So since our last meeting, we had a presentation by JBC Rail. Kim and her team provided us information. Guy and I were reviewing it for where it was at. We'll submit it on to you. And we asked for rail car movements and where they went in connection to the switcher agreement. So buckle in, this is going to take a minute. What we call the switcher agreement is part of a bigger agreement. And going all the way back to 2022, we applied for and received an IEDC grant for $1 million. And at that time, we said we need somebody to put this in and build this. And wouldn't it make sense to have the same company that's doing the construction be the switcher? And so these two things were put together into a document, and it was the build, operate, transfer document. So there's what amount to be 3 different substantial completion dates related to all of this, because if you follow the logic, the contractor for the rail really is build, operate, transfer in this instance. It kind of worked out that way. And we had construction occur with a $1 million grant from the IDC that had a piece of the rail. Because of the scope of the original build, operate, transfer agreement, that was also the switcher agreement together, we were able to do the bridge. So we really have 3 different substantial completion dates. March 1st, 2023 was we indicated to the IDC that the project, the $1 million of rail to be put in was put in. They accepted it. We were good. There's another date that emerges, which is in addition to the BOT switcher agreement, and it's the sidetrack agreement with JBC Rail. Now, I think the commissioner or commission members who were on here will think back. Remember when the county council, I almost need a flow chart for this, when the county council front funded $525,000 to put in the CSX switch. And the county council said, Matt, we need to have that money back. So got it. The pathway to get the money back was actual switch activity, moving train cars in and out with CSX. That was one funding source. The other funding source was the backstop made by JBC Rail and the Limbo Works, because Ed was interested, and I said, well, if you're interested, then you sign this document. So the Limborg signed a document, said, if this doesn't work, we're responsible for half. And JBC Rail signed the same thing. If this doesn't work, we're responsible for half. The truth of the matter is the sidetrack agreement is the funding mechanism to get the money back. And that signator to that agreement is JBC Rail. When we originally were approached about all of this with CSX, the natural inclination was you sign it. And at that point, Attorney DiMartino stepped in and said, hold on. So if you can kind of discuss why the sidetrack agreement was better for a rail person to sign as opposed to a government to sign, maybe that can, just so the commissioners are aware of the scope of different activities and requirements and agreements.
So the sidetrack agreement, they wanted us to be a signatory, in essence, putting us in the rail business. And we are not in the rail business. We are a county. So we said, we can, you can go over our property, you can do this, but JBC has to be the signatory to that. So you have CSX and JBC. We oversaw that, but we can't take on the rail business. It's not in my wheelhouse. It's not in your wheelhouse either. So part of the disconnect, we're talking about connections, part of the disconnect with this is it's come in so many different pieces. So the initial started in 2020. Mm-hmm. And then you had to amend the BOT, and all that was way before my time. And then we have the switcher agreement. So the issue that we have legally is, what is a substantial completion date, which defines the start of the initial contract? So, and that's what Matt was getting at, whether, there's 3 dates. The other problem, or the other issue that we have to overcome, is that the agreement between JBC and CSX has its own termination date. And so you can't go ahead and, for argument's sake, terminate JBC on the BOT agreement, but yet they're still contractually obligated to be the switcher for CSX through 2028. So what we are putting together is some type of way to meld these agreements together. And what I recommended to Matt, and when we sit down with JBC, is this: that we do a modification of this initial BOT so that the dates line up where the first term of this agreement will end at the same time that the CSX agreement ends. So if you want to put out the switching agreement to bid at that point in time, as opposed to the 1 5-year extension, then there would be some continuity. And that comes really close to that substantial completion date of March 1st, 2023, because that'll bring us into 2028 because of the 5-year term. And at that point in time, or even now at the modification, maybe we can address one of Mr. Parkman's concerns was the cost of everything has gone up over the time, but we haven't changed the actual amount per rail car that we would be getting credit for. So maybe we can come to look at some type of index, looking at the CPI, looking at something that if they choose to go ahead and extend after that 2028 date, that the rate per rail car goes up based on some index that we can all agree on. That's the only way that I think that we could meld all these 3 separate things that have been going on sort of separately, but now they're coming together. And another point is, this started in 2021. But the work out there and the actual switching and the rail cars coming in and the business hasn't started until recently. So that's, and so they've put this commitment in there, and I don't think it's being a good partner, because this is a public-private partnership for, to just say, well, you guys haven't done things 100% right. We're just going to term this agreement. So that's my view in looking at all 3 aspects.
The other option is simply give them a 5-year extension. They're comfortable with that as well. Say, okay, well, we're happy to continue. We understand our obligations to CSX. I think the more appropriate way to do it is how Guy explained it. I think it's fair and equitable. So just to kind of paint the whole picture, when we started out with what happened at Kingsbury, had to do with deficiency by a group that made promises to the county, and it had to do with foreclosing on a performance mortgage or performance requirements, and that's what triggered the county having ownership of all these easements. Because before that, it was the same thing as the Kingsbury Road story. So imagine trying to move rail traffic that way. There's no wonder why nothing got in the park, right? Should be pretty apparent. So when we started with that, we noted that, hey, we have common ownership. Let's try and sell it. Put it out in the marketplace, got no response. A lot of questions like, how many rail cars do you guys move at the Kingsbury Industrial Park? My answer was none. But I have a lot of land. Do you own the track? Well, I do. So if I get in there and I'm the switcher and you have no trains, how am I going to make any money, and why would I want to buy this thing? Okay, got it. Didn't work. Went from there to, got $1 million gap in the track, need to get it fixed. We should probably get somebody associated with this. That's when CSX came back around, said we'd be interested. And that's when JBC started negotiating with CSX. So you look at it this way. We have our agent is JBC as a switcher. But there's also JBC, the rail car storage company, on the other side of their fence line, right? So of that, the county's not entitled to part of their money for their business operations. Is it of benefit to them to have a working rail system? Well, sure it is. Is it a benefit to them to have be able to move rail cars? Yes, it is. But that's where the sharing and the revenue comes in. Hey, the county spent a lot of money. We deserve some of that back. So that's how we started with this. So it went from, we got a grant to build improvements. There was some performance required to do that. You had to connect to CSX, you had to do it. That involved the county council to come up and front fund the money. That involved those two people I mentioned to repay it. If it doesn't work, you're paying us the money back. If nothing happens, you're responsible. They agreed. So at a minimum, the county has, I guess, secured their $525,000 investment. If it works, great. Rail cars come in, they get rebates from CSX, money comes to the county till we get to $525,000. Once that's done, then we're into rail car movement fees and exchange of that revenue source. It's of interest to us to have more rail movement, and to date, really, the only substantial rail car storage or rail anything is JBC. So if they were to say, we don't want to be the switcher anymore, it would have would it have an impact on JBC Rail? Sure it would, but it wouldn't change JBC Rail. I own 30, 20,000 square foot buildings to store stuff in, and I own all this stuff. It wouldn't change any of that. They would just be dealing directly with somebody else, right? And so what we tried to, because it was incremental, to put all this together. In a perfect world, we would have had a connection, a car count, rail service to be able to say, hey, you want to be the switcher, this is how much this is worth to you. You owe us this much. We did not have, when we looked at this, the county commissioners, the redevelopment commission, nobody had the, we didn't have that information. It wasn't available. What we knew was that nobody wanted it. There was no pathway to do this without a connection directly to CSX. And so all the time, the county has taken the steps to do all these things. So that's kind of where it stands. So at the next meeting, we'll sit down, we'll likely have an addendum to be agreed to by JBC, or JBC will simply say, we would just like to have an extension. We're aware of the risk. I told Kim, I said the contract's for 5 years plus 5 renewal. We have to bid it out at the end of whether the substantial completion date is moved up or not. At the end of the 10-year term, it has to go back out to bid. And she said, we got it. We're aware. So that's the summary of where we're at with the BOT switcher agreement, IDC grant compliance, and ready compliance, because all those things are tied into the expenditure of funds going into this particular project.
So you did bring up last month, and we looked at it, but we don't have the numbers yet. They owe us somewhere around $27,000, but you'll get those numbers for the cars that have gone through thus far.
So a couple questions. I agree we want to be good partners with them. That good business in there is good for everybody. County spent a boatload of money on the rail in there. We need to see something happen. The rail car storage that they have, how are those cars getting in there? Are they not using the switch?
They are.
Okay.
Right, so they're keeping track of, I do a switch movement and I bring it into this property, or let's just they bring it into their yard, or they take it to Alexander, or they take it wherever. Right, they're keeping track of that. Right. There's those movements, and I will forward you that. There's a spreadsheet of each movement in each car. So there's a differentiator. The other part that is important, I think, for the purposes of public disclosure and transparency is the Redevelopment Commission has a right to audit the activities of anything they do out there at any time. And if we feel that we're not getting a fair shake or any of that, there would be an audit. The other part of this this is on me, directly related to the specifics of the BOT switcher agreement. There's supposed to be an official filing in July and January of each month. I have just been giving the commission an update monthly. I'll still give you a little bit of an update, but what I've asked is that we follow exactly what's in the agreement. So in July, so they'll give us one in January, and then they'll give us one in July, but I'll keep doing that. But there wasn't that much. Anyway, that's on me. That's not on them. I could have said, Kim, I need you to come here in July and do this, and she would have probably done it. And come here in January and do it, and they would have done it. But we're to the point where there's actual commerce occurring and rail car movements. I think it warrants that at this point.
Good. So the other thing is now that Limburg got that easement over Markman Pete's property, I mean, you have that piece of track too. So it should be about ready to take off. I mean, there's nothing really blocking it now on both ends.
Like, you have removed all of the impediments.
Now it's up to them.
So the $525,000 that they guaranteed, how long is that contract for? What's the end date on that? Do we have an end date if it hasn't been taken care of at a certain time?
Yes. That is a 5-year payback requirement for that.
And that was last year?
Last year, correct. The date, I have to pull the date specific to when I went to the council. I can't remember off the top of my head. But I presented those letters and the contract signed by both entities that said if this doesn't generate the revenue in 5 years, we owe the money.
So we've got a switcher contract and the 525.
Yes.
Correct? So right now they're setting it like 27,000. It's not a whole lot of money. We're going to get to this 525, and then the county's also going to get other money?
Yes. Well, the idea was to get the 525 back and then get revenues from switching fees. That's where we had to get to. But the first thing was, you're going to pay us back 525. That's the focus. So
it didn't become operational. It didn't become operational until spring of 2024.
No, correct.
April, I think she said.
Yeah, well, I said spring.
April.
Yep. So we're really working off two-thirds of a year, which was the 29 Gs, and then from what Kim reported was closer to 90 for the second year. So we're getting there. And as I mentioned, you took the time to remove the impediments. So now there are none. It's available, movement cars, where to store, how to do it, and then opening up other property for development.
Okay.
And that is the update.
All right, so just follow with me here. Don't think I've gone completely off the rails per se. But so, Mr. DiMartino, you mentioned that we're not in the railroad business, right? In the rail switching. I mean, for the sake of transparency, the way to do that would be to create a port authority or transit authority within the park, and then there would be a larger payback to the county, but that would be a much larger investment up front for us to create that organization. Is that the proper understanding of that?
You would need the expertise. You'd have to deal with all the federal regs. You'd have to deal with the different insurance requirements, which require sometimes about $50 million of coverage. And then you're going to have to hire people like your bridge tenders. You're going to have to hire people to actually go out there and engineers and stuff to deal with the tracks. That's not the county's job.
Understood. But I mean, you look at other places like the Port of Indiana or the large intermodals that are related to outside the city of Chicago that are part of the transit authority. Those are large upfront investments that come from the municipal government in order to make that work.
So in theory, sticking with that, if we were going to do that, we would have to buy all the land at Kingsbury. That would be the thing to do, because the Port of Indiana, all that's owned by the Port of Indiana. So they control in and out access, what gets built. None of the properties are sold. They're all lease improvements on property owned and controlled by the jurisdiction. So I'm very open to buying all that land, see how that would go. I don't know where the money's coming from.
I'll have to brush up on my railroad law.
But I'll turn it over to somebody who knows what they're doing after I get all that land assembled. But yeah, that would be the process.
All right.
Thank you.
That's enough of my off the rails conversation.
Thank you.
So please, so before next month, please reach out to me when we send you those numbers if you have specific questions. Reach out to myself and Matt. Okay.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Any new business?
No, sir.
Any other questions from the?
Hold on, Carl, what's our thingy?
Oh, well, I was getting to that. Go for it, Carl.
All right. After following that, this is going to be a lot more lighthearted. So for business retention, our normal protocol is we visit, I don't want to say large businesses, but maybe mid to large businesses. And, the protocol is we have a meeting with them, we sit down, we figure out what they need, we come back, talk about incentives. We link them to all the, like the Work Ones, the Small Business Development Center. We make, like an email that bridges the gap between them. And there's like a lot of work that goes into that. And I really feel like that we're kind of like, not dropping the ball, but we're kind of just, not helping kind of the smaller business owners in LaPorte County. So what we did is Matt and I, Bailey, we all got together and we drew up this business incentive guide to kind of coach some of the smaller businesses on, on resources in the county, how tax abatements work, how, like our office isn't handing out abatements, it goes through the council in order to, to get financing. And I think there's a mention in like TIF districts. So basically, we're just trying to get them interested enough to even possibly give us a call, and I can even have like a consultation with them so they understand, what can I take advantage of now, and then what can I take advantage of if I were to grow or get bigger or need a bigger space, or maybe I need some, something at KIP or, something like that. But if you guys want to look it over, we're going to launch probably beginning of the year. So if you have any, like comments, questions, changes, let me know. If you want to look through it, I'll be at the next meeting too.
Sounds good. Is that Matt's stunt double on the cover?
Don't let Carlton buffalo you. He's out hitting the pavement. He hits 3 businesses a month. And it's not, people have the assumption economic development is about giving away stuff. It has more to do with how to get something done and explaining to people if you want to do an expansion, this is what you got to do, and you have to talk to the planning department, or you have to talk to the building department, or hey, you need money, here's somebody, you talk to the SBA or talk to the RDC, Regional Development Corporation. More of that happens than, hey, I'm going to spend $18 billion, can you help me with something? That doesn't happen at all. What does happen is usually the existing business people need a little bit of help, and sometimes there's help to be given, but other times there's not. It's like, I don't know, how to tell you, but he does a great job. We have a log of all these visits, and there's a response that goes back, and there's follow-up, and when people ask for stuff, they get it. And that's what, a couple years ago, they said, we need more of this, the Redevelopment Commission, and we did. So responded to doing that. I think, if anybody's listening, or call Carlton. He's willing to come out and visit you, and we'll extend that invitation to any Redevelopment Commission member that wants to come on with Carlton and go see these things. It's always available. I always find it interesting.
All right.
Right?
Yeah, Tom Fath. He's going on a lot.
Fath has gone on a lot.
Yep.
So anyway,
So
that's it.
the question back on JBC Rail.
Yes.
Do you have a meeting scheduled right now?
I don't have a specific meeting. No, I'll send that out to you. Would you like to be included?
No, I'm just trying to figure the timeline with Thanksgiving and our next meeting's on the 10th of December. Do we have to vote to do this on December 10th meeting? Is that when?
We don't, because under no circumstances really January 1st the date because of the substantial completion language. Right. So this could be something that can be worked on.
We got a little time.
Yeah, we don't have to make it a bum's rush yeah.
Good.
No.
Thank you.
Any other questions? With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Commissioner Grammarosa.
Second.
Second by Scott Cooley. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Okay, let's see you guys.